Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. The Aintree Grand National meeting is now in full flow, and we end it with a fantastic 7-race card at Aintree tomorrow with three Grade 1s, 2 listed races, and a small matter of a Grade 3 handicap called the Crabbies Grand National. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but we certainly have. We're going to be covering all of that action tonight. We also covered the Grand National more in depth last night, actually, when we covered every single of one of the 39 runners. Obviously, we have one non-runner now with Carlito Briganti being found to be lame this morning. He will not be taking part, and no reserves come in due to the stupid rules that we will not go into, because we could be discussing that for quite a while. But I'm joined only by Adam Webb this evening to cover tomorrow's cards. Good evening, Adam.
Good evening.
I assume you're not too happy about Carlito Briganti coming out.
Yeah, I am. I mean, obviously horse safety comes first. And so gutted that he's not running because he was one at a big price I actually quite like. So, but horse safety comes first. As long as he's all right, then that's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to apologise to Andy Morrison who got him in the sweepstake. I'm really sorry, but
yeah. That's a good point actually.
I tweeted him earlier, so it's all right. He just said his response was, "It's bloody typical, isn't it?"
It's a good shout that. You've picked one in the sweepstake. You haven't chosen it yourself, and you're still on a non-runner. That takes talent, that does. I'll give you that. I assume you're very excited ahead of tomorrow.
Of course, it's like my Christmas. I mean, Cheltenham is also. I feel very lucky as a massive fan of Aintree as well. They both feel like Christmas to me. Or as somebody described it earlier in the week, it's like Cheltenham is Christmas, tradition, etc. Aintree is like New Year's Eve. It's like a party atmosphere. It's laid back. It's chilled. And the last 2 days have just been exceptional racing. And most importantly, all the horses have come back safe and sound. I mean, we've had a couple of jockey injuries, but most paramount tomorrow is that all horses come back safe, sound, and Animal Aid can do one.
Yes, there are. Speaking of no injuries, we have had a couple. One over at Wexford tonight, Robbie McNamara has been injured. He will not be riding Lord Windermere tomorrow in the Crabbies Grand National. Rumours are going around that Katie Walsh will be taking the ride on Lord Windermere. I'm not sure if there's any truth behind them or if they've even been confirmed yet, but we'll try and keep that monitored and see if there is any news throughout the hour that we are on air tonight. Katie Walsh could be riding Lord Windermere. Another jockey that will have to pass the doctor in the morning is Wayne Hutchinson, who should be riding God's Me Judge if all goes well. He had a fall from Boulder Success today and, as mentioned, has to pass the doctors. Another jockey that we should mention is going to have to pass the doctor in the morning is Josh Moore, who had a fall offside at Grugy today. The Melling Chase wasn't too kind to jockeys, was it, Adam, actually?
Oh, Jesus, no. The two horses that fell, they were mother and father of the falls. Interestingly enough, Side of Grugy got up, jumped the open. He got up to the ball and just popped over it, tried to jump it like it was a Puissance fence, and then went out and jumped the water. I think if they ever want to run over the national fences, they could do.
Yeah,
Boulder didn't gallop past me, so I was a bit concerned. And he has to say Aintree tonight. I just hope everything's all right with him. And I know that Steve absolutely loves the horse, and I just hope he comes back.
Fingers crossed that Boulder is okay. There was a quote from Alan King earlier on in the day that did say he was very, very sore after his fall, and they just hope it's soft tissue damage and nothing more. So we keep fingers crossed for Boulder Success. As always, though, you can get in touch with us here at On the Other Hoof. Our Twitter tag is @On the Other Hoof. We would love to hear who you fancy tomorrow. Any questions as well regarding the National, any of the undercard as well. Anything that you want to throw at us regarding tomorrow's racing, maybe even Sunday's racing as well, with John F. Kennedy making his seasonal reappearance on the flat in the Ballysack Stakes. You can send that in and we will try and answer the questions to the best of our ability at the end of the show. We're going to get started off, though, with the 1:30 at Aintree, Adam, the world-famous Just Eat Mersey Novices Hurdle, a Grade 1 over 2.5 miles. 14 runners go to post here. It's a very, very intriguing race. Most of the novice hurdles at Aintree this week have been, haven't they?
I'd agree with that. I mean, Thistlecrack today. I backed him in the Imperial Cup last time out, and he goes and wins a Grade 1 at 25-1. So I've got a knack of doing that, backing horses in handicaps, and then they go and win Grade 1s. But I get beaten the handicaps first. Parlour Games and Nichols Canyon at the top of the market. Nichols Canyon over this trip, he's interesting. I prefer him back at 2 miles. I thought that in the Neptune, and they went a crawl. And even though it turned into a sprint, it suited Windsor Park a lot more. And the fact that Feet of the Rock, who's a stayer, was there as well. The Neptune for me is wishy-washy. I'm not a big fan of the race. I think out of the 3 novices, it'll be the weakest one. Days of Heaven is a horse I do really like. The big concern I have for him tomorrow is that it'll be the biggest crowd he's ever faced, and he is a nut job. And I mean that. I saw him at Aintree in October when there was hardly anybody there, and this was the last race, and he was going around on his toes, really nervous. He nearly got rid of Barry Garrity at the start, and he's done it a couple of times this season. He's got better as the season has gone on, but he's going to have to be on his best behaviour. If he is, I do think he's your likely winner, but the prelims are really important to his chances, and I think 6-1 adds that in. I think 6-1 is a good price, because if he jumps off and is thereabouts, I think he's got a huge chance. Of the rest, Three Musketeers is a horse that I think is really nice. I would have preferred to see him in the 3 miler today. I just thought they would have gone up and trip with him on good ground. Although there is a bit of rain forecast, which is interesting, but it's in the middle of the night. Thankfully, if you're going to Aintree tomorrow, it won't affect you. Of the outsiders, Ballybowley is interesting. He's 2 from 2 at Aintree, and I'm quite kind of questioning this, why they didn't run him in a handicap. That conditional jockeys race with Jamie Bardry or Ryan Hatch on would have been absolutely perfect for him, and I would have been all over him off 1 through 5. But if they're coming here, they must fancy his chances, and I think at 28, he could easily nab a place. I didn't talk about parlour games, actually. I think ground is okay, but I think he'd want it a bit softer than what it is. Your likely winner, if he goes to the start with no problems, would be Days of Heaven. Ballybowley is a saver each way. I wouldn't put you off.
Yeah, I do agree with Days of Heaven. He's a horse that I really like as well. I think he's fairly prominent in the betting for the Arkle next year as well. I've seen a few people talking up his chances for when he goes chasing. Peter Carberry takes the ride on Days of Heaven. I assume David Bass didn't fancy it with the ride on the National coming up. Be my thinking, Adam.
Peter Carberry must do a lot of work at home. I mean, Peter Carberry apparently has been doing a lot of work with Peace and Co at home. Maybe this is another horse that's had as Barry Garrity described it, the Peter Carberry hands. So maybe this horse will settle for him.
Yeah, something like that. He's a very established and very good rider himself, Peter Carberry, taking nothing away from that. And Nicholas Canyon, I was a bit disappointed with him at Cheltenham, but going back to it, the vibes weren't too good surrounding him on the day going around the racecourse. I didn't really hear many positive things said about Nicholas Canyon. I think Parlour Games, I think he'll probably appreciate Aintree a bit more than he does Cheltenham, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't think he really appreciated the way that the Neptune was run. I think you alluded to that a bit earlier on, Adam. And I think, for me, I'm not actually worried about the faster ground. I know you mentioned that you were a little bit, but I would say that it wouldn't be too much of a problem for him.
I wouldn't be worried. I just think he might want a bit more give in the ground. Because if you saw him on soft ground and the way he was winning on that, really impressive.
Yeah.
I know that somebody who watches for Ryan Ferris will be screaming at me now, Monsters like good ground, but I just think with him, I think he wants it a little bit softer. That's just me.
Yeah. I wanted to mention Seedling as well, who I thought was running a nice race in the Supreme. I think they went a little bit too fast for him and he was taken off his feet somewhat. So over 2.5, I'd be interested to see what he can do for Warren Greatrex and Gavin Sheehan. I think about 10-1 is a fair enough price. Regarding Seedling, Three Musketeers is also a very interesting one. Maybe the ground could be a bit against him, but it's been saved specifically for Aintree. So you have to respect that from, again, another up-and-coming duo of Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton. As for win purposes, I'm finding it hard to take on Days of Heaven. He's really impressed me this season. He looks a horse that's learning all the time, improving all the time, and is probably only going to get better with age. He's only a 5-year-old in this field. It's a big ask for him. I do get completely what Adam mentioned a bit earlier on when he said that the occasion could just get to him. He is a bit of a quirky horse, and we'll have to keep an eye on him in the preliminaries. But I think he's got absolutely masses of ability, and I think he'll go close tomorrow. I hope he will anyway, because he's a horse that I've definitely got pinhooked for the future. I'm sure you have as well, Adam.
Yep, I have him down as a novice chaser to follow. In fact, I've got a lot of novice chasers to follow, so having to cut the list down in the jumps preview next year, it'll be very interesting how I do it, but I'll do it somehow.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me somewhat. The 205 at Aintree is up next. It's the Doombar McGull Novices Chase, a Grade 1 over 2 miles. It's a competitive race. Unfortunately, we have no Understow, who was mentioned to coming over. Apparently, it was a done deal that he was going to come over, but the drying ground has gone against him, so Understow will not be running, and I believe we'll go for Punchestown instead. But we have still got a good field of 6 here. God's Own was second in the Arkle. He turns up. He's the favourite for Tom George and Paddy Brennan, Adam. God's Own, I imagine, off the back of his Arkle second, he should be going fairly close off this, but his form has been indifferent throughout the season.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Better ground was the key to him at Cheltenham. And I have him down as a horse that's better right-handed. So the run that he put in the Arkle at a big price as well. Michael, I know, was very keen on him. I thought it was a really good run. I thought he was going to beat Underso at one stage, but Ruby had obviously left a bit, jumped the last, and he's gone. I like how Willie Mullins has essentially trolled some of the trainers as well, because Vibrata Valtak could have come here, Clarkham could have come here, Joss's Hill could have come here. With Underso setting a fast pace, but I mean, he was going to come over, so they've all gone for the 2.5 race. Theoretically, they should have come here, but well, Clarkham won anyway, so I'm not complaining. The one that I'm going to go with, it's slight concern about God's Own is that, as you said, he is indifferent throughout the season. But if he does run to that Arkle run, he should be winning. But Traffic Fluid is a horse that I caught my eye first time out over fences at Ascot. He jumped really well behind Prissy Zig and Joss's Hill, and has since gone on and improved. And last time out at Sandown, you'll be indebted to this horse forever because he won you the place pot. And I've never seen a horse in a novice handicap, though. He routed them. It was such a good performance, and he jumped really well. I hope Josh Moore passes the doctor because he really deserves this ride. And at the prices, I'd rather be backing him than God's Own. Solar Impulse is another horse I do like, and I think he's a really sound jumper. And he's been running well, and this drier ground will really help him. If God's Own doesn't run his race and Traffic Fluid is going to be a winner, I'd see Solar Impulse chasing him home and then potentially making up into something like a Holden Gold Cup horse next season and picking up these little grade 2s, grade 3s, like Paul Nicholls is very good at finding for these horses. He will have a season plotted out for him next season. He may not be grade 1 level, but he's a really good horse and I really like him. So Traffic Fluid is your winner, and stick Solar Impulse in the forecast. Why not?
This is going to get really boring really fast if we keep agreeing. But yeah. I'm taking Traffic Fluid as mine. They really do rate this horse. What was that?
I asked you about him at Ascot. I remember asking you about him. I said, "Can you ask about the horse?" Because I remember watching him thinking, he jumped well, jumped nicely. He'll be one for the future. If they'd run him in the novice handicap at the festival, Jesus, wow, that would have been an interesting sight.
They decided not to go to Cheltenham with him just because it would absolutely fry his brain. He's only a 5-year-old, so he's still got a big future ahead of him. But they do think an awful lot of the horse. He's got £12 to find with God's Own, but as we've seen, he's got any amount of ability or any amount of improvement left to find in him. He's won the last twice. He's beaten Seventh Sky really easily both times, albeit he was getting weight from Seventh Sky. On both occasions, it was only £6 last time. I think he could have given him £6 and still won as easily as he did. Seventh Sky has come out since and really franked that form by winning a competitive handicap at Warwick, and he won it in good style as well. So that form's taken a good boost. And if you sign up to the theory that any Cheltenham horse are negative at Aintree, he ticks that box, whereas most of the others seem not to, especially with God's Own and Court Minstrel. So Traffic Fluid has been trained with this race in mind. I hope Josh Moore passes the doctor in the morning because he, for one, I know he really, really likes this horse, but I'd be surprised if Traffic Fluid can't run his race. I was delighted from a betting point of view when Underso came out because I don't think Traffic Fluid will be able to beat Underso, I'm afraid. But you have to say as well that the Moors are due a good bit of karma today because they had some rotten luck down at Fontwell. They lost a really good horse that they thought quite highly of in Pisca du Part. Josh had a horrible fall. Cider Grugy came down. They also had another faller at Fontwell. Nothing went right for them whatsoever today. They've had a bit of a rough season on that front as well, with Jamie also being on the sidelines. So Traffic Fluid winning a grade 1, that would ease the blow somewhat. And they've also got one with a good fancy later on in the card as well. But the next race to cover is the 250 at Aintree, the Silvercross Stayers Hurdle, as we know it, the Liverpool Hurdle, a grade 1 over 3 miles and 110 yards. 9 runners coming here, Adam. The first and the third from the World Hurdle take part in Cole Harden and Zarkanda, who was possibly a little bit unlucky in the World Hurdle. We're making an absolute Horlicks of the second last, but you don't fancy him to reverse the form?
No, I don't. Well, we say he's unlucky, but they're there to be jumped, and he made a bad mistake. And people have said it'll latched onto the tails of Cole Harden and gone past. But even if he'd have got onto the coattails of Cole Harden found plenty. I know Zarkanda, he found off the bridle, but I just think Cole Harden would have kept going and kept finding more and would have won. A very welcome boost. I know it was over fences from Safir the Road today. He was just incredible. I knew I'd end up talking about him at some point. But Cole Harden, I was convinced, I was signed up to my own little theory that Cheltenham wasn't really a track that suited him. And lo and behold, he goes and wins the world hurdle. I did put him up each way in the race because I thought he was he shouldn't have been 14-1. But here, he improved so much from Cheltenham to Aintree last year, and if he does the same this year, he was second to beat that last year. I think the track will really suit him. And at 11-4, it feels like Weatherby all over again with at Fisher's Cross. He should be favourite, just because people may take the view, oh, it's a funny result, but you look at his form. He's been running against really good horses and performing creditably. I love Cole Harden. He's such a tough, consistent, likeable horse. Always runs his race. I think he is the one to beat. Of the rest, Whisper, he went chasing it, and I'm not going to say he failed over fences. It was the fact that he had one run, he had a setback, and Nicky Henderson has decided to bring him back over hurdles just to save his chasing career for next year. He ran all right in the World Hurdle. Probably, you could argue, he maybe even needed it. And if he's better here, he'd have a big chance. But the concern for me is that he actually boiled over last year, and I don't think he will benefit from a burnout up at the front, because there's not going to be no one's going to take Gavin Sheehan on in front. So
no.
Yeah, I don't really like Whisper. On Tom Portu in first time blinkers, I think he wants off the ground, and I thought he wanted it in the World Hurdle as well. Jetson's not good enough. Blue Fashion, I'm not sure whether he stayed or not, but he might be interesting. Brother Brian, now I don't know why they've come here. I kind of guess why, but I'd rather them run in the handicap. He went really well in the temps for a really, really long way, and I did think Tom O'Brien pushed on a bit too early. If he'd have held on to him a bit longer, he may have gone closer. I'm not going to say he would have beaten Calder Cops, but he could be interesting in this. And I hope Crackaway Jack comes back safe and sound. He ran a really good race at Sandown last time out. The first time run off the track, he'd been off the track for a long time, and it was good to see him run really well. But Cole Harden's a very confident selection here. I couldn't see him confirming it was Arkander.
Yeah, with Brother Brian, I was as confused as you are to why they come here. Prize money comes down to 8th place, so that is one part of it. But I don't think Brother Brian overly stayed 3 miles that strongly at Cheltenham. Tom O'Brien did kick on a long way from home, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
but he's now pitched in a Grade 1. I can't say I've got that, to be honest. But
yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Cole Harden, I completely agree with you. He should be favourite. There's no denying that. He's £6 clear on official ratings. He beat Zarkanda fair and square, whatever way you look at it, really, at Cheltenham. Zarkanda did make that bad mistake, but the jury would still be out regards to whether he would have won. I do think he'll win tomorrow, Zarkanda. I am against Cole Harden for no real reason at all. I was on Zarkanda at Cheltenham. I think 3 miles is his trip. I think he stays absolutely fine. But you can't deny that Cole Harden should be favourite in this field. I wouldn't really be wanting to back Zarkanda at 9-4. A lot of people made a bit of a fuss about Sam Twiston-Davis's ride at Ascot earlier on in the season. I'm still adamant that it was the blinkers that he couldn't see Ripper Savola coming back at him.
Sorry to interrupt you. If they thought Sam Twiston-Davis gave them an absolute balls of a ride at Ascot, what about Noel Feely in this race 12 months ago where he took on at Fisher's Cross? The reason somebody asked actually the other day why is Sam Twiston-Davis on him is because he's stable jockey, and it's a similar arrangement Noel Feely has with Chris Charles to what Darryl Jacob has with Simon Munier. Stable jockeys get to choose. If they don't choose the horse, then Noel would take the ride. Apart from Silvaniaco Conti, who Paul Nicholls always wants Noel to ride, which is fair enough. So
it's his horse, isn't it?
It's his horse, yeah. I mean, from when Ruby left, I mean, Darryl came in, and Ruby, I think Noel had already ridden him in the past, and he just said, look, I want Noel to ride the horse, which is fair enough. So, yeah, I can accept that. So,
yeah. For me, Zarkanda, I'm not really crazy about the price, so I'll hope that they flip-flop in the morning. As mentioned, I think Cole Harden is a very deserved favourite. He was a fair and square and very impressive winner of the World Hurdle for me. Gavin Sheehan gave him a brilliant ride. He'll try and adopt those tactics again. And as Adam mentioned, he ran superbly last year behind Beat That at Aintree over 3 miles in a novice hurdle. But Zarkandar, for me, would just edge it, which brings about our first disagreement, Adam. It's always nice. Always nice. We are not disagreeing on this race, however.
No.
Which is annoying. The 325 from Aintree is the Betfred Handicap Chase, a listed race over 3 miles and 1 furlong. It's only attracted a field of 10 this year, Adam, which is a bit disappointing, but it has attracted the first 2 from last year in Duke of Lucca and Vino Griego.
Yes, it has. I mean, your favourite is Bywise. Now, Adam Wedge takes the ride because I think Paul Maloney doesn't want a fall before the National. Bywise is a very talented animal. His one problem is his jumping. He got left at the start at Cheltenham, but was staying on at the hill. And as everybody's had, excuse me, the last couple of times, it's, oh, he's an eye catcher. But for me, he's not an eye catcher, because if he keeps doing the same thing over and over again, it soon makes me realise that he's going to be one of these unlucky horses. Everything could fall right for him tomorrow and he'll win. But then what's going to happen to the handicap mark? It's going to be smashed to pieces, basically. Wonderful Charm. It's interesting that Sean Bowen's not riding anymore. He was originally jocked up with a £5 claim. Yeah, he was. And I thought it was Nichols very wisely using that, and he booked him very early. But Sam Twiston-Davies now rides. I don't know with Wonderful Charm now. I thought he had the potential to be a top-class chaser, but he's just disappointed. He may go well, but the one that we're both going to agree on is Vino Griego, who I have a feeling has been mapped out for this race again. He was second to Duke of Lucca last year. He always goes well on spring ground. 3 miles is his trip. He ran really well first time out at Ascot, and I thought he could be interesting for something like the Hennessy. And he disappointed there, and he's disappointed again in his last 2 starts. But it just feels like he's been brought along with this one day in mind. And at the prices, I quite like Vino Griego tomorrow. Of the rest, Edgardo Sol blundered his way around Cheltenham, but he's stepping up to 3 and could be interesting over the trip. And Raja as well was one that was actually for sale earlier in the week, or there's like an opportunity for other owners to.
I did see that actually. It was own a horse for a day at Aintree, wasn't it?
Yeah, a good initiative, and I hope some people have got on that, and I hope he runs well for them. Of the rest, Bob Owen. Bob Owen's interesting for Dr. Richard Newland, but he's been out of form, and the vibes are very negative. I don't think it's a very good race, and I think Vino Griego off 10 stone 6. I think he's got a great chance, so I'll go with Vino Griego.
Yeah, I am really, really keen on Vino Griego. I have been for quite a while. This has long been the plan, I think since 12 months ago. But he did run well first time out this season at Ascot. He didn't have the visor on that day. They've taken it off for the majority of the season. They had it on in the Hennessy at Newbury. He didn't run well that day at all. It was softer ground, so maybe you can forgive him for that run. But when he ran well at Ascot, he travelled very, very strongly. Looked all over the winner 3 out, and then he needed the race. Well, it turned out he needed the races very badly because he ended up coming 7th after looking like the winner turning for home. The more pressing factor is that for finishing, albeit 50 lengths beaten in the Sky Bet, which wasn't the best of performances, he's been dropped £7 for that. Now that also puts him £7 lower than he ran off last year when second to Duke of Lucca and beaten ahead. He's off a mark of 139 now, which is far too good to be true. The visor also, ironically, the visor is back on Vino Griego, which should bring about enough improvement and bring him back to somewhere near his best, as he did perform exceptionally well in this race last year. The handicapper hiked him up for that. He's given him a real chance on this occasion. I'm gutted that Jamie's on the sidelines and can't ride him because he absolutely adores this horse. Hopefully Josh can pass the doctor tomorrow so he can have a ride in it. If not, I've no idea who's going to ride. But I'm really keen on Vino Griego. About 8 to 1, I think, is a huge price. Of the other ones involved, Wonderful Charm, I've actually backed in the King George. I thought he'd run a big race in that. He ran okay, in fairness to him. He's just not that class of animal. Off 159, I think he might still be finding life a little bit tough in handicap company, and maybe one to consider next year in a couple of bigger handicaps. Bywise, I've been waiting for the day personally that Paul Maloney didn't ride Bywise. That's finally come, and it's a day that I really fancy Vino Griego more. Adam Wedge is a more than able deputy for Paul Maloney, but he's just been unlucky one too many times, or we'll say quote unquote unlucky. I think he's just hit a few too many fences. He's prone to making a few mistakes, and he does get himself quite far behind in races. Saying that, stepping up to this kind of trip will really suit him. Down to the ground, you have to mention Duke of Lucca as well, who won this race last year. He's not been in the greatest of forms since. He was really fancied in the cross country at Cheltenham. That plan didn't really materialise. He didn't jump overly well for me around the cross country fences. That's obviously eradicated. We're back over regulation fences here. So Duke of Luke would have to be given a chance, but at the prices, Vino Grego is so well handicapped on his best form. The visor's back on. The ground is going to be absolutely perfect for him. They're watering 3 millimeters overnight, but
and there'll be a bit of rain as well.
Yeah,
a bit of rain as well, so maybe
honestly, I can't take on Vino Grego tomorrow. I think he's a really, really good bet at 8-1. What we're going to do with the Grand National, because we've already previewed it in a separate video that you can find on our YouTube page and on our website on theotherwho.com. We're just going to take you through who we thought was going to be the first 4 and not really preview the race as such. If you want to find the preview of the race, then you can do on our YouTube page as mentioned. So Adam, who do you think were going to be the first 4 in the Crabbies Grand National?
Well, my idea of the winner was the Drew's nephew. We already talked about it in the video. Second will be Rocky Creek. Even though I've not backed him, I have to respect him hugely. I think the price has gone, and price-wise has put him up. And he's also put First Lieutenant up. In third will be Gosby Judge. I think he'll run a big race. I hope Wayne Hutchinson passes the doctor tomorrow morning. And fourth will be the place legend Valid Alvarado for Paul Maloney. So there's my 1, 2, 3, 4. If you enjoyed the sweepstake video, my personal highlight was pulling out Woodbury's name, Tom Woodbury, for River Choice. Everybody got a good laugh out of it. He didn't, and he messaged me earlier and he wasn't pleased. So
angry Woodbury. My first 4. From 4th to 1st, I think Oscar Time will be 4th. Samuel Combs is superb form, better than ever over the national fence with the Brashdani Express today. That was a superb performance. Third, Alvarado will receive a Paul Maloney special, hopefully, and sneak into the places from the back after being given far too much to do. Second, I'm going to go for Balthazar King. Faster ground will bring out so much improvement in him. He's been aimed at this race all year. He was second in it last year as well. But I think he's going to bump into one once more, and that will be Rocky Creek, hopefully. For Paul Nicholls and Sam Twiston-Davies. He had a breathing operation at the start of the year. That seems to have worked dividends. He was a very, very impressive winner of the Bet Bright Chase at Kempton in his last start.
Wouldn't that just silence any doubters about Sam Twiston-Davies, so if he could win the Grand National? I would as well, because I remember when we found out that Sam Twiston-Davies was taking the job at Paul Nicholls, we sort of thought, hold on a minute, this could go badly wrong. But to be fair to Nicholls, he's been very supportive behind Sam this year. And maybe there probably have been some arguments, as you know. I think there will be some times where Paul will say something to Sam, like, if you need to change this, change that. I think an example of that is Sappy the Row. If you notice today, he was sat a lot quieter on him over fences than he was, say, at Kempton. But I think at Kempton, he was taken off his feet, really. But you can tell he's maturing as a rider. And I've noticed little differences from the start of the season to the end of the season. And it's a talent that is going to be nurtured. And he will be a future champion one day. So
it's the same as when you start any job. It's the same as if me or you started an office job. But you have to get used to it. It probably
starting off that job, Jesus. I'd be sacked after 2 days.
it's probably a lot more difficult in that regard that he is taking over at a big yard. But as he said after Saffie de Rue today, that he's getting used to the horse and the horse is getting used to him and what he wants him to do as well. He's finally beginning to understand the horses, which is such a key thing in racing to do. It's a simple thing, and some punters can take it for granted. But he's finally working out the horses, getting used to them. And finally, there's a little bit of they're beginning to cement together a good partnership. And Sam's in fantastic form, and Paul Nicholls is in even better form as well. 1 yard, go on.
If he has a winner tomorrow, Paul Nicholls, it'll be the 25th weekend in a row that he's at the winner on the Saturday or a Sunday. Can you imagine if he did it in the Grand National as well for the season he's had?
Hopefully he does.
Yeah. Well, for you, yeah, but
yeah, exactly. Moving on from the National, the 5:10 at Aintree is the one-stop energy handicap hurdle, a conditional jockeys race over 2 miles and 110 yards. 1 yard that haven't been in scintillating form this week, Adam, is the Nicky Henderson yard. They've got the favourite with 1 for the governor. Nico de Boinville's taking the ride. He's about 4-1 in a fairly big handicap.
I wouldn't say they've not been in bad form. I mean, he had the Inval and Reggiani Express win today. I mean, I can understand the top performers, yeah, but they've been doing well in these handicaps, and one for the governor for me looks a handicap stew in here. And the price already tells you that. Nico de Boinville takes the ride. He was really impressive at Ludlow 2 starts ago, where he beat Seven Nation Army, and then went to Kempton last time out and beat Brother Bennett, who's trained by Jim Best. And this horse actually beat one of my horses to follow, the Outlaw, in a bumper. And I considered putting one for the governor up as a horse to follow, and I thought, no, the Outlaw is a more long-term prospect. And the Outlaw turns out to be an outlaw in himself, so I may as well go for one for the governor. I think he's very well handicapped here, and I think he's definitely the one to beat. Of the rest, Ormello Mo was given an absolute peach for ride by Sam Twiston-Davis in the Welsh Champion, in the Plumpton Champion, the Sussex Champion, that's it. The £5 penalty countered with Sean Bowen taking 3 off. He's got a big chance. I fancy Baltimore Rock in the county hurdle, and I'm surprised he actually finished 7th because I couldn't see him throughout the race, and I thought he'd run really badly. But on reflection, he actually ran all right. Back on better ground, with the tongue tie remaining on, I think he could run a big race. Going further down the prices, I think 25 is about Little King Robin is a bit insulting, really. She's a fabulous mare, and she could go a really good gallop here over 2 miles and could really sort these out. And she jumps really well as well. So at 25, she could be worth one a bit each way. Of the rest, just look through. Bally Glasheen at 50th. I've got to mention him. I always mention him in a big handicap. He could go well for Conor Ring, but I think one for the governor's your winner. And I wouldn't put you off a little bit on Little King Robin each way. If she goes from the front, she'll be very dangerous.
Little King Robin was in scintillating form at the start of the season. Didn't she beat Arctic Fire?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
But Arctic Fire wasn't fit, and he subsequently wasn't fit at Newcastle either. So, yeah. But it was still a very good performance.
Yeah, nonetheless, to beat Arctic Fire has had a brilliant season so far. I'm going to take one at more of a price. It's about 10 to 1, the Game Changer, who I did fancy in the county hurdle at Cheltenham. I think the ground went against him more than anything. It was softer ground by that time. Wicklow Brave absolutely tore apart the race and any chance that any other horse had turning for home, and won the race relatively on the bridle. He was beaten 18 1/4 lengths in the end off today's mark. Luke Dempsey, who's been riding better than most people in the weighing room, never mind amongst his own conditional jockeys, takes off a very valuable £5, which makes life a bit easier. I just think that the good ground is going to bring out a bit of improvement in the Game Changer. And Gordon Elliott, let's not forget, has been in fantastic form this week with the likes of Clarkham, Tagliatelle. He also had one today, didn't he? And Don Cossack. So yep. Gordon Elliott's yard. Gordon Elliott's yard are in absolutely fantastic form. There's no reason to really desert them now. I think 10 to 1 could be a really good each way price. War Sound's another one that's worth mentioning. Is inexperienced, only ran 3 times, but Kieran Gethings has won twice from 2 rides on him. Gets on really, really well. That could be something to look at more because they've already got a partnership together. Whereas some of these horses will be ridden by the conditional jockeys for the first time, and Kieran Gethings takes off a very, very valuable £7, which could tell dividends from his big weight of 11 stone 9. About 12 to 1, I think he might be worth a little shout each way. The rest, I'm finding it hard to get excited about the others. Box Office was a big gamble in the Fred Winter. That Fred Winter form seems to be stacking up quite well. He's got one of my favourite claiming jockeys on as well in Maurice Linehan. I was shocked that he didn't get a ride at the Cheltenham Festival. But Box Office, if he can step forward from that Fred Winter form, there was a huge gamble on him that day as well, let's not forget that, then he could be going close to the mark of 135 with Maurice Linehan claiming 3, but he is a bit more on the shorter side on what he's shown us so far at about 8 to 1. It's a competitive race though, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah, it is. It's a very competitive race. Just read an interesting fact actually. Thistle Crack, who was saying, I think this is a really sweet fact. Thistle Crack's dam beat Conigree's dam in a Newbury handicap chase in 2001. If you had said that in 2001, that both of their mares were going to produce Grade 1 winners, I think that's a really lovely story, that is.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Can't beat Played Maid, though, can you?
You can't. What a mare. It's such a shame we lost her. But yeah. Wow.
Superb mare. Moving on, though, to the final race of the Aintree Grand National Meeting, the 540. Again, is a superb race. The Pin St Mason's Mares Stand, an open national hunt flat race, a listed mares bumper. over 2 miles and a furlong. This is a really, really good bumper, Adam, with the likes Lifeboat Mona, Briary Queen, Whistle Dixie, Babylon de Mott. We have got some of the best mares that are in training in bumpers turning up here. We can even include the likes of Chocker Walker as well, from Nicky Henderson, Andrew Tinkler taking the ride. This is a really, really good way to end the 3 days.
I agree. I didn't think today's bumper was that particularly strong, but then I didn't fancy Barter's Hill today, and I should have, because the way he did it, I love Barter's Hill, and I can't wait to see him over hurdles next season. But this race, it deserves its end of the card. It's a fantastic renewal of this race. Some of these opposed from Sandown were Babylon de Mott won. In second, we have Briary Queen, who ran a really good race that day. But Lifeboat Mona, Copper K's not here. It's a shame, quite liked her as well. But Whistle Dixie was also in that race.
So with Copper K, I think she scoped dirty the other day. That's why she's not here.
That's fair enough. We also had Whistle Dixie in that race, and she caused her own problems. Well, she was unlucky to be unseated. I'll say that to start with. Brian Cooper was unlucky to come off, but then she caused a load of problem in the straights involving Lifeboat Mona, the winner, and Copper K as well. And Lifeboat Mona was lit up by the loose horse. Megan Nichols, no blame from me to her. She did all she could to try and keep the loose horse away, but it didn't happen for her. I think that form is really strong, and it should come to the fore tomorrow with those horses. But the one that I'm going to side with is a horse that I saw in the flesh at Ludlow and earmarked for this race as soon as she crossed the line, is Chocker Walker, who, out of the lovely mare that was Chumbawamba, who was also trained by Nicky Henderson, she's a tiny little thing. And I mean, she's tiny. And on that soft ground, I was slightly worried about her. But the way she picked up that day over a mile 6 was really impressive. And me and Michael, I said to him there and then, I said, look, she'll be one for the Aintree Mares bumper. We haven't seen her since. This good ground will really suit her. And at 12-1, I think she rates as a good bet, actually. Apart from that, I think she will have done a bit of growing since that Ludlow win as well. But she's got to turn her foot. And some of these are more stayers, like Briary Queen, who I can see running well. I don't know what to make of her. I'm not in a bad way. I'm saying I don't know whether she'd place or not. But not that she's not good enough. It's just the fact that Aintree is more of a speed track. But stamina horses have been doing well in these bumpers.
I was going to say, I think the faster they go, the better for Briary Queen. Yes. So we stop in front, and then she can pick them off. I really, really like Briary Queen for next year for some fairly big hurdles as well. I think she's a cracking mare for Noel Williams. He's a new trainer just starting out in his training regime. I think she's a very, very good horse for Noel Williams to have and could pay dividends over the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. There's also other mares to consider. This is how good the race is. I mean, you've got Holly's Pearl for Sean and Peter Bowen. You've got Sunshine Corner, who was really impressive at Bangor. You've got the Alan King trio as well of Angel Faith, Katie 2 and Miss Crick. Oh, you could make a case for most of these. Even Rose for 5 do one at Ludlow and was 7th in that bumper behind Babylon de Mott. I wouldn't be shocked if about 3/4 of these, if any of them won, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to side with Chocker Walker because I've had her earmarked for this race for a while, and I think the benefit she's got, I think she's very lethal. So 12-1 for me is
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Chocker Walker's Damn Chumbawamba. She won a good mare's hurdle at Sandown one day when I was there. She's a real trier, a really classy sort as well. It's good to see her progeny on the race course as well. Lifeboat Mona's one that I really like from the Paul Nicholls and Sam Twiston Davis yard. She's not the flashiest of horses at all. She just gets the job done. She won't do too much when she hits the front, but she is a very, very talented horse. As Adam mentioned, it was Whistle Dixie who was the loose horse that really did Lifeboat Mona and Megan Nichols no favours whatsoever at Sandown. She was coming there very, very strongly and almost carting Megan Nichols. But the loose horse then came across, hampered her, left Babylon de Mott alone. And Lifeboat Mona was really facing an uphill task from that point on, and Briary Queen went past her 4 seconds. So I'd be willing to give Lifeboat Mona another chance at 10-1. Again, I think the faster they go, the better for Lifeboat Mona. She travelled so strongly into that race at Sandown. It's hard to go against Babylon de Mott because she's beaten most of these. She won that race really, really strongly. And
will she be as effective on better ground? That's the question I have got.
That's my worry. That is my worry with Babylon de Mott because she travelled very, very strongly in the softer ground. It could have just been that she coped with it better. It could just be that she's a soft ground mare. Only time will tell that. We'll see. Find out tomorrow. It's a shame that Whistle Dixie did unseat because we didn't get to see what Whistle Dixie could have done.
But we did. She hampered the whole field.
But she's looked very impressive on her 2 starts over in Ireland. She came over here for the quarter of the race that she ran. She did well, I guess. But Nina Carberry is always a jockey to look out for in bumpers over in Ireland. She's riding for Gordon Elliott, who, as mentioned earlier on in the video, is in fantastic form. It's very, very hard to pick a winner here. And there's 5 mares that I really do like, Chocka Wocka being another one to throw in. I'd say Lifeboat Mona is probably going to be the each way selection. I'd take Whistle Dixie, I think, to keep Nina Carberry on first and foremost. But I think Whistle Dixie will be the one to beat, albeit she is favourite at 4-1. But I do like Lifeboat Mona at 10-1 as an each way proposition. And that brings us to the end of our Aintree Grand National previews. I was waiting for the R from you.
I love these 3 days. They're fantastic 3 days. The last 2 days I have had the best time. It is just incredible. So
it's been enjoyable. We'll say that.
Enjoyable is an understatement for me. I've had a great time both days, and I've got tomorrow as well with racing fans and my actual friends as well. I do have friends. I do have a life. Well, I say I have a life, but really, little pin stickers guide. You'll question my sanity. So
no, not at all. Is your last chance to get any questions in that you may have, or any fancies that you want to send in regarding tomorrow's racing, or even Sunday's racing. If you want to send in any questions about that, you can tweet them to us at On The Other Hoof, and we will answer them right now. Kai Wills is the first person to send a question in. Hello, Kai. He's actually going tomorrow, Adam, for the first time, and he's asked for any advice. My advice to you, Kai: stay well away from Adam.
I was going to say, come and meet up with me, but if he's telling me to avoid, I'll be round the parade ring from about 11:45. If I have any stalkers now, God help me. No, I'll be round the parade. I'd like to meet. I enjoy meeting people that watch the show. I enjoy meeting racing fans in general. So if you see me, come over and say hi. I don't bite, so. Any advice? Get there early is my advice. And if you see Animal Aid there, just give them a bit of abuse, because they'll be calling you all names under the sun for having an opinion different to theirs. So you may as well call them names for having an opinion different to yours.
Yeah. Hopefully they are well behaved this year. The cretins.
Well behaved. Last year they called my. I'm gonna have to say this. They called my mate a big dick because he dropped their leaflet on the floor.
Maybe they thought his name was Richard.
No, his name wasn't Rich. His name was Craig. But it was funny though. We all got a good laugh at it.
Kai has then gone on to ask chances of Whisper, Parlour Games, and Godzone. We'll start with Whisper. He's had an in and out season, hasn't he? He's never really got going. I thought he ran okay in the World Hurdle personally. He won. He won this race last year, so I think he'll go well. But I couldn't fancy him.
You don't want it to boil over like he did last year. I don't think the race will fall into his lap. That's the thing.
No. Parlour Games, I'm happy to take on, if I'm perfectly honest.
It wants a little bit softer.
I think this race is potentially a stronger one than the Neptune that he ran at Cheltenham as well.
I don't know. I don't think the 2.5 mile hurdling division is that strong, personally.
No, I don't
think many of the hurdling divisions are strong, actually. I think chasing is where it's at the minute. Next year's Gold Cup. Oh my God, that's going to be good.
Huge.
Oh.
The last horse that he wants an opinion on is Godzone, that we did talk about a bit earlier on. His form has been in and out all season, but he did improve on better ground last time at Cheltenham in the Up.
If he reproduces that, he should be winning. But at the prices, I'd rather back an improving Traffic Fluid, who could easily go on to big benefits next season.
I'm very much the same with Traffic Fluid. They think an awful lot of him at home. And a lot is expected of him in the next few years. Ryan West next in. Is it? I'm going to have to use colourful language here as well, because I'm quoting. Is it me, or is price-wise picking 4 of the first 10 in the market an absolute piss take? We'll have to defend him on this bit.
Yeah.
Because he has already chosen Alvarado anti-post, and he has already chosen the Druid's Nephew anti-post. So he got them at significantly bigger prices. And weeks ago as well, so we have to doff our caps to him for that, because it was fair selecting with Alvarado and the Druid's Nephew. He has picked Rocky Creek, which is a weird one.
That's not really price-wise for me.
No.
He's
I
got a
think,
few
I think,
but if he wins and they start, oh, Tom Segal picked the 10-1 Grand National winner, so what?
I really do fancy Rocky Creek, but he's not really a price-wise horse. Although 10-1, fair enough. And First Lieutenant is the other one at around 33. First Lieutenant's a fair enough price, I think, for price-wise.
If I'd have been doing a price-wise piece tonight for the Grand National, you don't want to know what I would have gone for price-wise. So.
Carlito Briganti, wouldn't you?
No, that's my boy. 1 point each way at hundreds. That's what I would have gone for. He's a risk, but he's worth it.
I should have read the next question before I answered Ryan's question, because Chris Beckett has answered it for us. He said, "It's you, Ryan. Alvarado and Nadrua's nephew advised both 50-1 each way before the Cheltenham Festival." So thank you very much for that, Chris, for answering that. Jeff Handley's tweeted us a lovely picture of Three Musketeers who runs tomorrow. It's an improving thought, and 10-1 looks decent each way value for Dan Skelton. Agree with that. I do agree with that.
Wish he ran in the 3 miler though. I just think you'll stay. Yeah. Lovely horse, though. Definitely.
I do agree with that as well. Good luck with that one, though, Jeff. Alex Golding in next. Sold for me. In theory, he is well in on the handicap. A lot in the race are, though. You need to keep that in mind. A lot have escaped penalties with the likes of Rocky Creek. The Druid's nephew is also another notable one. 2 runs for David Pipe, won both, and has been around Aintree a few times. Sold would have to have a very good chance, wouldn't he, Adam?
Yeah, but with the way the fences are the last 2 days, you can't be making mistakes. I'll say what earlier. I heard from somebody today that they've built the fences differently. They've not put spruce on the top. What they've done is they've laid it across the fence rather than on top, which means they're having to go over them rather than through them. And if you're noticing that horses are actually brushing them, they're not getting away with mistakes. They're unseating, you're getting a couple of fallers as well, but maybe I hope they go a little bit slower in the Grand National on the back of this. Make the horses actually jump over them rather than through them.
Yeah. No complaints the last 2 days. The race today did turn into a little bit of carnage, but
yeah,
it was entertaining. Yes, entertaining and safe. That's what we want. Really.
I did have a moment where I thought the loose horse was going to wipe out the whole field at 3 hours. Yeah, he did wipe out Benny's Miss. It felt like the old 50s and 60s, watching them two fly over the fence.
Yeah, there was that. He's then gone on to say, Alex Golding says, also my other bet of the day is Dormello Mo in the 5:10. Sean Bowen in form should have won by more last Sunday. I agree with that. I backed Ryolian, but he chinned on the line. So thanks for that, Dormello Mo. He should have won it very easily. The Sussex champion hurdle, we'll say. He made a real mistake at the last and sacrificed 2 or 3 lengths. And the Plumpton run-in isn't the longest, so he's done very, very well to get back up and beat Ryolian on good ground. I think he's got a very good chance as well, Dormello Mo. Do you think the same, Adam?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So he's got his chance. So.
Yeah, it's a very competitive race. So you need to take that into mind. Alex, John Beaton has sent in an interesting question saying, "Will Shut the Front Door run?"
Yes. Why not? Unless he's tried to ask us, "Will Shut the Front Door run well?" You'd hope so, but he should run unless there's something going around, which just shouldn't be.
I haven't heard anything.
I doubt they're going to pull out AP's final Grand National runner. You can imagine that.
He'd take over on something else.
He wouldn't be able to. I think the rules are he wouldn't be able to. So
really?
Yeah, I think he can't.
This national lark's rubbish. Callum Jones has sent in a question to you, Adam. It's directly to you. Adam, are you on Edgardo Sol tomorrow? Always thought he may soon run a decent race, but will he stay? It's a tricky one.
I'm not going to back him, but I think he'll run well if he gets the trip. He'd be an each way player if I was going to, but because he blundered his way around Cheltenham, so yeah. Should run well.
He's not one without his chance on his best form anyway, and Darren Goodbody has agreed with him, saying an omen there, Edgardo Sol and Sol. That is all the questions I've got. Have you got any rogue ones, Adam?
Any rogue ones? Nope, I haven't had any questions.
No rogue ones. Right, it's nap time then.
Nap time. I'll let you go first.
Vino Grego.
Right, I'll go Cole Harden then.
Cole Harden and Vino Grego are the 2 naps from us. That's pretty much all we've got time for, isn't it?
Yeah. Time has flown by today and yesterday. If you're at Aintree tomorrow and you see me, you'll see me with quite a large group of people. Come and say hello. I know Mega Fan Hattie Fuller's there on crutches, So
yeah, we hope you're okay, Hattie, as well. Yes. We hope you're okay and not too badly injured.
What happened? Do we know what happened? Or
she fell down the stairs.
Oh Jesus! Oh, ow!
I think she went through the top of the first one, packed on landing, and then fell down the rest of the 12.
I hope she's not watching now.
I'll make her watch later on if she hasn't.
So. She might whack me with the walking stick for laughing at that. Oh God, help me tomorrow.
Yeah, as long as it's usually us and not me. So, but have fun tomorrow, Adam.
Thank you very much.
And first and foremost, we hope that all 39 now running. Runners and riders, in the Grand National do return safely, and we have, and we have a fairly incident-free day and an incident-free Grand National. Albeit, we hope it's entertaining and we hope you enjoy it as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to On the Other Hoof tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast of the last 3 days. You can find our Grand National runner-by-runner guide on our YouTube page. It's about an hour and a half-ish, I think it was. Yeah. But we did get through all 40 runners at the time. Now it's 39 as Carlito Briganti is out. Keep monitoring on Twitter who's going to ride Lord Windermere as Robbie McNamara did suffer an injury over at Wexford tonight. Katie Walsh could be in line for that. A few other jockeys have to pass the doctor tomorrow morning. But thank you very much for watching On the Other Hoof this evening. Thank you for sending in your questions and fancies. We'll see you next week, next Friday, when we're covering
the Greenham and the Scottish National. Yeah,
that one. Yeah, when we're covering them.
Are we doing a video midweek?
Possibly.
Craig, we me and Luke and Callum, obviously, we have a little idea that we're going to put together. We're going to discuss it and then we're going to tweet about it. But it's a new idea we've got, and I'm quite excited. And,
follow us on Twitter @On the Other Hoof. Then you'll be told about all ideas that are being put forward. Any new ideas that we are doing here On the Other Hoof. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. Then you'll be told about any video that we are doing when we do them, and you can watch them at your convenience. Thank you for tuning in to On the Other Hoof tonight, though. Have a good day tomorrow. Have a good Grand National. Be lucky.